Hey everyone, Braun-Duin alongside.
Todd Anderson.
Woo! And
Woo.
we are battling some sweet, close to monocolored decks for our versus video today. I've gone for the white side of things, and
I don't know what it is, man. Brian really likes some mono white Nykthos, but
it's never good, but I like to try it with every new set just to remind myself how not good
you
it
gotta
is.
get it out of the way.
Yeah, you gotta get it out of the system, and you always gotta check again. Maybe it's good this time.
That's I. If you read my article last week, I actually said that one time. I'm like, yeah, this black deck's probably really bad, but I keep trying to make Gray Merchant good again. Just no.
No, there's just no Pack Rat, no Spectre. But anyway, let's go ahead and look at this mono white devotion deck and see what sweet new cards have maybe made the deck better. Maybe. All right. So start things off, we have Kithion, Hero of Akros, which is basically just Gideon as a small child.
I don't see. I still don't understand why his name changed. I assume that when he sparks, he becomes like their Greek god or whatever, and like once that happens, he's not the same person anymore.
Yeah, he's like,
Something.
I guess he's just become more of an idea versus a man.
Is there a joke here?
No,
Okay.
I don't think there is.
All right. Usually that is just like that's the setup for a joke when you start slowing down the sentence and then you just bust one out. But all right, whatever. Kytheon, great. 2-1 for 1.
Yeah, he can become indestructible for 3 mana, and if you attack with 2 other creatures alongside of him, it turns into Gideon, the Battleforged Zendikar. I think that's what they should have called him.
Come on. There we go. That was it.
There's the joke. I was
All
setting up for that. Which is he's actually really good on the Gideon side of things. He can become a 4/4. He can also like untap a creature and make it indestructible to protect himself, and also make creatures attack him, which isn't actually that great, but is very good for boosting his loyalty. Knight of the White Orchid's another big one. So the major problem with White Devotion in the past has always been a lack of a good 2-drop.
Yeah.
Prior to Anafenza coming out, the best 2-drop was Vanguard of Brimaz, which was hilariously bad. And then Anafenza came out, and so it was like, all right, sweet, we have one awesome 2-drop, and that's still all we have. But now we got Knight of the White Orchid, which is really good. It's going to help ramp us, and it's just a first strike guy, so it's not that bad stats-wise, and it has 2 white in the mana cost, so it's really good for Devotion.
Yeah, it seems great. I noticed there's no dirty H's in the main deck.
Yeah.
Your boy Heliod.
Yeah, I didn't end up going with Heliod because creatures like Brimaz already have Vigilance, and just seemed like, I don't know, a little bit of overkill. I think I'd rather
Archangel of Ties have Vigilance pretty good.
It is really good with Archangel of Ties.
I feel like it would probably be too clunky, though. I don't know. But I do know that you are notorious for a little bit of dirty H action. So.
Yeah. Now that they printed Master of the Unseen, I just don't think Heliod's needed anymore.
Nah.
You can get the Heliod effect for a little bit better.
Yeah.
There's actually a couple other 2-drops, too, that are actually good enough to maybe see play. One is the Relic Seeker. He is a 2/2 for 2 with Renown. When he hits, you get to search for an equipment. You can play things like Godsend, or even like Hero's Blade, maybe. There's a lot of legendary creatures between Anafenza, Brimaz, and Gideon. So there's a couple of equipment you could play with that guy. There's also a 2/1 first strike for white with Renowned, and if you attack with him while he's Renowned, all your other attacking creatures get +1/+1.
That sounds cool.
So he actually sounds pretty good too.
So we could just have like a mono 2-drop Devotion deck, although none of those cards are as good as Nightveil Spectre, so I'm not sure that it's gonna work.
Yeah. Just
I don't know.
I don't know. I think I've tried to do the mono 2-drop Devotion thing before, and I think you just need like bigger stuff to ramp into. And then speaking of bigger stuff, we have Archangel of Ties, which I think this is on power level alone one of the best cards in the set. Just really makes it hard for your opponent to attack you, and when you're attacking, it makes it hard for them to block. And the biggest issue with the card is that it costs triple white. So
yeah, I mean, when I first saw the card, like everyone was losing their mind about, oh, this card's super pushed and it's really good. And I'm like, yeah, it's really good, but it costs triple white, man. What do you want from us? What do you expect? This is going into a mono white deck.
Yeah, like
mono white has traditionally been pretty bad.
Yeah, I mean the card. Yeah, it's like the card is super powerful, but it's really hard to find a home for it just because of the fact that you're forced into like such a heavy white deck. Past that point, we got some fairly usual suspects: Anafenza Brimaz, Hidden Dragon Slayer, Wingmate Rock, one Elspeth, and then a bunch of permanents that just provide devotion but are also really good. Like Citadel Siege is just an extremely powerful card, and it also provides 2 devotion, which is going to help us use Nykthos for things like Master of the Unseen. Banishing Light as well as a removal spell that provides devotion.
Yep.
Spear will pump our guys, can sometimes kill some creatures in weird games, and then some Valor stances as well. I think that this deck actually has a pretty solid mix of like spells. Like, I think the non-creatures are great in this deck, so really it just comes down to whether these new creatures are good enough to make this beautiful mana base.
Yeah, I did want to ask you why the lands are covering half of the screen right now.
I think anytime you play more than like 2 planes in your deck, you gotta really display it out.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's basically like this whole new idea of playing only planes. 23 of them, that's a hefty number.
Yeah, anytime you're registering 23 planes in a tournament, you're either a madman or a genius.
Yeah.
And it's usually madman.
99.9999% one.
Occasionally the other.
Yep.
But yeah, that's the main deck for the Mono White Devotion. Let's look at the sideboard and see what multicolored cards we have there. All right, we are here with the sideboard, and sadly I lied. All 15 cards in the sideboard are white.
Yeah, I was expecting like maybe one of that new land that makes 2 Thopters or something.
Oh yeah, I thought about playing that, but I think Nykthos is a little bit better with Mastery, but I think it's definitely a reasonable card to consider. All right, so the sideboard, we have a couple Celestial Flares, which are mostly for Stormbreath Dragon, which is a little bit of a problem for this deck.
Wait, Stormbreath Dragon? What kind of protection does he have?
He has protection from white, yeah. And then we have 3 Surge of Righteousness, which are going to be really good against a deck like...
Dragon.
Unfortunately, I really wish it was, but sadly it's not. This is going to be really good against decks like Goblins, which I think are going to be really popular like the first week. So I think having a lot of removal for a red deck is like a pretty good place to be the first week of Standard. A couple of Glares, pretty self-explanatory there. Another Elspeth. A couple Abzan Advantage because we don't have access to more superior cards in other colors like Dromoka's Command. So we gotta.
That's fine.
Give them the advantage. Yeah.
That's great.
Another Valor stance, a couple more masteries, and then lastly 2.
No, we don't need to talk about it. We don't need to talk about this card. No, it's been in every deck.
Spectral Ward?
Yeah, everyone plays that card.
Okay, that's right. Yeah, we can just skip Spectral Ward.
All right. No, seriously, why Spectral Ward? I don't get it.
It's for devotion because
that's sweet.
A deck like this has a really hard time beating a green devotion deck because you're just gonna play a bunch of like small white creatures and they're gonna play like much bigger green creatures. And you're just never going to be able to attack. And Spectral Ward lets you be like, hey, Brimaz, get in there for 5.
Okay, that's pretty cool. I have played Spectral Ward in a Pro Tour before, and it was not limited. I played Heliod's Pilgrim, Insult Artifact, that nonsense. It was fun.
Did you Spectral Ward a Darksteel Citadel?
I don't remember. Probably at some point. I know that I cast it at least once or twice. It was great.
Yeah, the card is actually pretty sweet. It's a little awkward against Whisperwood Elemental, but that's what Valor is stancing the Whisperwood Elementals for.
Tilt. It should just be a Progenitus. Just have protection from everything.
Yeah, it does not make it Progenitus, but you can also put it on a flyer to just clock them faster too as well. But anyway, that is the sideboard for the Mono White Devotion deck. Make sure you also check out Todd's Deck Tech for his...
They're not gonna
making Gray Merchant back.
They probably stopped this like 3 minutes ago. They're like, oh god, these guys, they just keep droning on.
Yeah, they like looked for the list, didn't see Heliod, and they're just like, can't do it anymore.
Off it.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, watch mine.
Yeah.